And I've had good friends to talk to. I had one friend of mine, a lover of mine. Like I was saying, I was gay. Well, I'm not gay, but I have to say I'm bi-curious. I watched my lover die in my arms in my parking lot one day because he was murdered. Um,
Wait,
anything about him until I was about 12 or 13. I was home one day, and my mom got a letter from over in England from South Wales, and it was my grandfather. And I guess he was still trying to keep in touch with me. That was the day that I did know I had three sisters. That something happened with the neighbor, and she took off with the neighbor, and so Dad's current girlfriend at that time, and his mom, I guess. And so I'm home one day, and I get a letter, and it says it's from there, but I didn't follow up anymore. I only knew that I had a dad over in England somewhere. I didn't know he was Welsh. I knew he was in the British Army. I knew I had a grandfather who later found out he was, I guess he's a great guy. He was one who made sure that I guess the family kind of still found me. He, I guess, was a POW for the Japanese, and they had him digging mines in a little island somewhere in the Pacific until the Americans came and rescued him. Yeah, I guess he was a tough little Welshman. But and I get my grandma. She looked like a very beautiful woman, but I didn't. Unfortunately, he passed away before I was able to actually meet him. My dad, when I went over to England, gave me or Wales, gave me his ring, so I do have an heirloom from them.
but this was down the line when you were 45, essentially, correct?
Well,
Or
at
when did you actually?
when I turned 45, I was born the same day Jim Morrison died in Paris, July 3rd, 1971.
Okay.
And on my 45th birthday, I get a call from my sister over in South Wales on Facebook or a message. Actually, she ended up contacting my mom, and then my mom asked, "Would you like to meet your real father?" Shit, yeah, I'd love to meet him. Man, he's a very extremely likable man, funny as hell. And he contacted me and asked if I'd like to go over and meet the family. So I had never been on a plane before, never been outside of California, and at 45 years old, I decided to take a chance and go and meet the family over there. And South Wales, it is a beautiful country. It really is. First off, they're not English. You will very much, that's very disrespectful to call them English. So me and Dad started talking over the phone, and then he brought me over there. I've gotten to stay, I used to go over there about every other winter. I would go over there and stay about a month. And which is really cool. If you ever get the opportunity to go on like a European vacation or something, and you know people that are off the beaten path, it is the best way to see another country. You get to see all the little pubs, you get to meet people you don't normally get to meet. It was a trip going over there, and one of my uncles was in the hospital, Uncle David, and we go at the hospital, and I look at my sisters like, um, this is weird. There's only white people here. She's like, yeah, what's it like over there? Well, in the United States, you've got 15 different
Just
languages.
a little
You've
bit of
got people
everything.
running around, and that's just how it is. I looked at her, everyone speaks the same language, and you're all white. To me, that was, I don't know if it's a sad cultural shock. I kind of, in a way, I've never looked at anybody's skin color or anything, but how we are in California with so many different
So
diversities,
diverse, yeah.
and especially myself, where I predominantly speak English, and now I feel like I'm living in a country where I better learn Spanish real quick. Well, if Trump has anything to do with it, but so it was really a cultural shock to see people who all spoke the same language, all were the same color. My sisters and my dad know Welsh, which they tried to teach me a little bit, and I think I know in die tree pedwa pimp. Borda, Indai Tree Pedwa Pimp is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good morning, good afternoon, just a couple of phrases. I wanted to teach me how to say I don't speak any English in Welsh. How the Spaniards are like that one. But I've gone over there. It was really weird to meet a family. And here's what really after meeting the Welsh, I had growing up here in the United States. I really never really had. I have a family here, but we never hung out. I would sometimes come to Christmases. We sometimes get together. As time went on, we became more estranged. I never knew what it was like to have a dad with me all the time or to have a mom. When I was there, they had Christmas for me that first year, and it was weird to have a big table and see dad and my sisters and uncle and aunts, and
Everyone
it
there.
was so weird. I mean, I became very jealous and actually a little angry over it. That my mom chose to leave me where I was at with an abusive alcoholic who beat my ass most of the time, in my opinion, to see that there was a loving family out there that would have really liked to have had me.
And just curious,
Yeah,
did that maybe take a effect on you as a kid when you found out that your
it
father
did.
wasn't really your father?
It did. It growing when I remember growing up, I think maybe that was part of the reason I pushed them away, and that may be the effect of their today.
No.
I really, I like seeing that. When I went over there, I met my niece Danielle. She ended up, unfortunately, here about a year ago or so. She passed away at 31, and she had just had a kid, and they don't know what happened. And I'm not quite sure, but she was the first niece that I had who ever called me Uncle Todd, and that was like, wow, that was a trip to have family like that around there. I could only imagine what it would have been like to grow up there. I'm the oldest out of all of these people.
Oh, sure, okay.
So I could only imagine what it would have been like to live over there with six sisters, maybe the
Yeah, and
oldest
being
out of
big
the.
brother. Yeah.
It's like that would have been weird, you know. I have a lot. I have a lot empathy for Tad too. Growing up in a house full of women, but yeah, who knows? I might have went into the military. I know both dads were very much in the service. I might, who knows how I would have changed if, or turned out if I had had more family. Over there, the family all kind of lives in the same town,
Was it a
or
very
same.
small town or?
Yeah, they're called villages. Where Dad lives, I think it's called Pile, is one, and there are a lot of my relatives who live in, like the street he lives on. There's, I believe, there's Aunt Lynn and Uncle David. There's a cousin, there's a sister, and there's a couple other cousins. All live just in one street. And I thought, man, wouldn't that be a trip? You know, to have grown up with having to duck and dodge my uncles and everyone knowing what I was up to, and when you get, just how you kind of get in trouble in a small
I
town.
was gonna say, I feel like in that situation, uh, they probably would have put a stop to what you were doing. A lot
Uh,
of.
well, they probably would have, but it's, yeah, I don't know if I would have done some of the things I would have done. Here, my roommate here, he's Hispanic, and me and him, we talk about how we grew up, and I had a lot of material stuff. Wayne was an electrician, union electrician. He made really good money. Materialistically, I wanted for nothing. There was no reason for me to have been out running around with my people I was when I was younger. I could have had a great education, and the government would have paid for it. Dad was a veteran, um, but for some reason, I just did not want the family unity. It was, and then I saw what I could have had going over here, and saw how nice that man was, and how loving that family was, and even how sometimes even if they're bad to each other, they're still family. And it's like, man, I got fucked. I really did. I had to raise myself, and I kind of became resentful about it. I became so resentful that on my second visit to visit my family over there, I got into a fight with my stepmom and my dad, and in a bar in Timby, a little seaport. And if I could, I would love to apologize to him, and I thought I had, but I remember trying to fight with my father, and come to find out the man was a Golden Glove boxer in the army. And I don't care how old he was, he would have wiped the floor with me right there and then. So I can never go back to this little seaport, mind you. I think I got 86 out of the whole town. But I got resentful, and then on the third trip, I remember I was trying to be part of that family, and it blew up on me still. To try, I remember trying to communicate with them that time because I thought I did such a bad, uh, had such a bad visit, my second visit, but I didn't know I was as sick as I was. So the third visit, I was trying to be on my best behavior, get involved. Um, yeah, I might have moved my entire sister's house around by a quarter of an inch. That part of the family, they're very clean people, and things gotta look organized. My sister leaves one day, so I took her entire living room and I scooched it about a quarter of an inch. Yeah, everyone else thought it was funny, but um, and they got a great sense of humor. I'm related to a famous boxer called Johnny Owen.
Johnny Owen.
Yeah, yeah, oh yeah, check him out, Johnny Owen. He was a bantamweight champion in the world, and he didn't lose a fight until he was put into a coma by a Hispanic guy in the 12th round in L.A. for the bantamweight title of the world. And I guess they called him the Mithril Man, and that's my cousin. And there's
Johnny Richard Owen.
Johnny Owen.
Oh, wait, so right here is this?
That's him. I've seen that statue. That's my cousin.
John Richard Owen.
Yep.
And it says his boxing name was Johnny Owens.
They call him the Mithril Man.
Yep. Well, right here it says, and you probably know more, obviously, but it's saying a mithril matchstick.
Yes.
And then bionic
Yes.
bantam.
Yeah, I guess he was a harder Welshman to put down. I guess he was really good at boxing, and I've seen that statue. And when I looked at it, I was like, man, he looks kind of about my build, skinny little fucker.
What they say, 28 fights, 25 wins.
He didn't. He lost. What killed him was, I guess, in the 12th round of the bantamweight title in L.A. The guy named Pinta was his name or something like that. Put him in a coma in the 12th round.
Shit.
He had a soft skull. Nobody knew it. I know, to have all those fights and he had a soft skull. But he was a great fighter, I guess. So, I've got that. And then, and the history over there, where Dad lives, I'm fascinated by it. He lives in a place called Pyle, but then there's another town right over called Kenfig, Kenfig. And there's a castle that I've seen that you will walk up to that's covered mostly by the sand, but there's a turret. On the same beach, I guess the Americans during World War II had a base there. So there's all sorts of little tracks, tank tracks and stuff in the whole area. Also in the same area is a place called the Prince of Wales, the most haunted pub in all of Wales. I've been in there to have dinner. I've heard people walk on the second floor, and there ain't nobody up there. But it's called the Prince of Wales. It's one of the most haunted places in Wales, I guess. And he lives 2 miles away from this place. There's Morgan Hill or Morgan Park, which is a beautiful place. So just right around my dad's house, old Roman roads they still use from 16th century or however long ago. So there's all this history in one little area.
One little place. Now we're actually running low on time, so if you don't mind telling me the story of your divorce. You say that you.
Yeah, my divorce.
If you don't mind going.
No, I'll talk about that one too. My ex-wife will probably love this. Let's see. First off, I met my ex-wife at a bar, and it was the longest one-night stand either one of us ever had. We didn't have kids, but we stayed together for like 14 years. And we got married, and she was, Krista, now it was something that was hard for me to live with for a while. She was a very beautiful girl. She ran around with some of the same friends I did, but she wasn't involved in the drugs and partying lifestyle until she met me. She was, but not as openly as I was. So we met at the Marco Polo in Visalia, and we got together. But as time went on, as I like to think I became pretty successful at gardening. I built my own business. Well, my dad, Wayne, helped me a little bit. Well, a lot of people helped me. But I got to go back to school and taking classes for gardening and ornamental horticulture and stuff. Well, I was getting really good at what I was doing, but I was still doing a lot of drugs and drinking. My lifestyle, my influences were like Iron Maiden, Ozzy, those type of people. So that's kind of how I lived. And I think what got me and Kristen a divorce, and anybody who's married to anybody, no matter what you're into, what'll kill it most is trust. And what I mean by that is, like the night I sat down in my house there, I could have went and told Kristen, "Hey, why don't you come in here and smoke some of this with me?" She would have never hurt me. I didn't trust her enough to do that. I thought I was protecting her. But at the same time, I wasn't telling her about things, about the people I was screwing around with, the drugs I was doing. And then as I got more into the drugs and Tulare, I got to where I was running hookers around. I almost got arrested for pimping.
Shit.
Oh yeah, that's a fun one. The sergeant in Tulare County had talked with me. Um, I was in and out of jail. I was running around with people that were. She was a self sufficiency worker for the county of Tulare. She had to give people welfare. I'm running around these same people smoking crack, and she was getting all sorts of stuff back to her. And my lifestyle growing up is my dad was white. I was raised in a white home. It wasn't until I met Cliff, my next door neighbor, and he was black, that I remember when his cousins came over, and they were people who were involved in a lot of things. And I'm thinking, my God, these are the biggest black guys I've ever hung out with. Well, OC, he used to be a football player, and I guess something happened to his knee, and so he went off to make money in other ways. But that lifestyle, and to be now, if you ever want a life lesson, get strung out for 5 or 6 years in a town with people you don't know. If you don't die from it, it'll really make you grow up. I got to meet people I never thought, and there were people that I'm surprised I'm still alive. I mean, quite frankly, a scrawny little white boy does not need to be going in the back room with a bunch of other people, and they're all going, "Why is that white boy going back there?" He's got cash in his pocket. Not too long from now. So it was quite a growing experience. But yeah, I was getting heavier into these things, and Krista was just trying to save the marriage, trying to save the house, be responsible. One night she looked at me and she had, I think, our wedding ring in one hand and some cash in the other, something. And she's like, "If you really want to go smoke for me, which one do you want?" I took them both.
Sold the ring and used the money.
I remember one night she came out and she asked me, "Can you come in just for a minute? Can you come in and hold me?" And I told her, "No, we're waiting for my shit." That's the kind of drug addict I was. Oh, I could tell you stories. Remember one time my friend and some shit went up to the attic roof of my garage. I'm smoking rock in the attic of the garage, and the guy I just fronted it from and her both stick their heads in the garage like, "Where's my money? Where the fuck let my motherfucker go?" And I'm up in the rafter smoking crack, looking at him. Just be real quiet, they won't see me. And he didn't see me. And then after all, I came out and she said, "Where the hell were you?" "I was somewhere." "What are you talking about?" So, yeah, some of the shit I got into. But that ultimately did it. You know, she had to save herself. She had to get away from me. What helped us was my last arrest. Uh, I went to jail and did a year for stealing junk metal. When I got out, that Art, he picked me up. He's like, "You want to change your life? You want to help yourself? Why don't you come with me? I got a new job up here in Hollister. Let me get you out of that." And I took a chance. And again, my own person was there, was Art, a few people along the way, but he helped me. Um, and even without doing drugs, we could all still be idiots. Uh, um, and he helped me. Fortunately, I don't know. I used methamphetamines to got crack cocaine, basically. It loses legs, but after a while, even that played out. Things slowly, instead of me having to go to meetings and find a sponsor and do everything that most people, I would say, are always necessary to get recovery. I today can sit in a bar and have a Pepsi and not and play pool and don't care. I couldn't do that years ago. I've often wondered why years when I had a business, all this stuff was falling apart, that I couldn't find recovery. And today it seems little to no, like it's little to no effort. Um, some days it's hard, some days it's not. I know that I don't need to be hanging around with people smoking crack. I got no need to be around those people.
Yeah.
I um, I'm happy with me finally. Took a lot of not just saying I can do this and I can do that, which I'm not someone, if I talk to you on the phone, I'm going to say, yeah, I'm doing this. I just say, hey, look, why don't we meet? Let's talk. I'll show you that what I'm doing is what I'm doing. I was told by one of my old sponsors, if you really want to know how someone's recovery is, hang out with them behind closed doors and talk with them. And that's what I kind of like to be, is that person. I don't want you to think something. Come and hang out with me. This is what I do. This is what I do today to not go down those roads anymore. It and it takes a lot of practice by living, just living and having friends and definitely my higher power. What pisses me off, I think, or what pisses some people off about my higher power, I think, is I don't believe Jesus was all that in a bag of chips. I think he was a great man. Because for me, if I can relate to a man like Jesus, who may be flesh and blood, but he said those things he did years ago, then the lifestyle that my grandma lived was definitely that she followed someone who had some great things. Now, try to convince me to walk on water and all that. Well, that the thing about the fish and the bread, that's just, he stole it. That was called wealth distribution. And if he walked across water, other religions will burn you at the stake for that crap. So it was hard for me, though, when the Catholics are saying, yeah, follow this, but yeah, he does this, but if you practice witchcraft, that's too confusing. But if I think God or Jesus was just a man who said some great things, and if those great things have kept society together for as long as it has, then I got no quarrel with that. I can believe that.
Now, one last question. We only have a few minutes
Yeah,
left.
go for it.
If you don't mind me asking this,
Yeah.
because you said because I know we've been kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
You had said in the beginning of this interview, when you had caught the valley fever, that you ended up finding out that you were HIV
Oh
positive,
yeah, because I didn't know that I had full blown kiss AIDS too. I see. Whenever I got sick, I didn't really actually realize I was sick. I thought I was just getting tired. One morning, I'm sick. I wake up. I get after doing a test. I get a call from some doctor's office, telling me I have HIV. Never told me who it was. I just got a call. That was a real mind blower. What do you mean? As it's not HIV. It is, you're on your deathbed from it.
and could you maybe think of how you maybe contracted by chance, or
Well,
I know some people are
I've
drugs.
been heavily into drugs. I've never been into anything, but I've liked sex. I've had more sexual partners than probably Wilt Chamberlain.
And they say he said
Um,
a lot.
that's my sexual experiences been everything from. See, I left my ex-wife for the guy I'm with now because he was into dominatrix. He was and the male part of it. So I got into BDSM. Well, I've always been into it whenever I was younger, which I thought was strange. At 13 or 12, I was looking at porn and doing coke when most kids were doing whatever they're doing. So I could have contracted it anywhere. I could have contracted it from any woman. The point is, though, because of what I have today and realize that how dangerous it can be, I take regular meds. I'm getting checked. I'm healthier today than I've ever been, and I'm also more responsible than I've ever been. It's hard for me to know that if I go to a bar, I can't just pick any woman up here and take her home. Yeah, I might be okay, but what is that possibility that I get her sick, or and then she's got kids, or that I it's hard each day living sometimes this way, but I got to take responsibility for my actions and things I did and not piss and whine about it. And but yeah, I would have to say it could have been anything. Unfortunately, it's just what it is. Mm. And so, but my roommate knows about it, and me and my ex-wife have even talked. And she, unfortunately, she's dealing with her own problems with an alcoholic boyfriend, and she loves him. But I have a feeling, and I have a feeling that maybe things have changed enough in my life that I could be a productive member of another relationship with her. And I think she would give me a chance, only because she could see that I'm someone today who she can rely on. If she calls me, she can talk to me. I'm not going to blow off the handle. My roommate, I've been 20 years now. He knows what I'm going through, and yeah, the sex is long gone now. It doesn't exist anymore. But my relationships today are much more personal relationship. a much better understanding. Um, and yeah, and each, quite frankly, look at each day as it's a blessing. So that's where I'm at today. And if this can help anybody, I hope it does.
Now, thank you again for this interview.
You're
I want to
welcome.
also say congrats on the 15 years clean.
Thank you.
Correct?
Yes.
Keep it
Thank
going,
you.
man, and keep being strong.
Thank you.
Definitely, definitely. You have a good one.